the round table. There he is, David hopping in here at the last second. Man, that's exciting stuff right here. Ryan and I were just like, all right, we're going to go ahead and start. David will hop in, and right as I start the opener, David comes in just right under the bell there. That's great
I'm more
stuff.
effective than our offense. I'm more reliable and effective.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Take a shot.
We're starting off the show hot. We'll see if we fall apart down the stretch here. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's dive in to the show. I'm your host, Shane Haff. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHaffNFL. Joined, as always, by the rest of the crew. We've got Ryan. Give him a follow on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. Ryan, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. I was, here super early, ready to go, put in my time. And, not everybody can just come in when they want and, everything's fine. So, whatever.
Well, David wasn't adequately prepared for an 8:00 start time because he hadn't seen that on the film. So
Correct.
Something he's going to try to prepare for this week.
Right. I wasn't used to 8 o'clock fronts, so it's troublesome.
No.
This is going to be a fun show, I can already tell. Also joined by David. Give him a follow on Twitter at David Neese PHL. David, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. Looking forward to a short work week, eating dinner, watching football while everyone else cooks. It's always a nice day.
Yeah. And then, of course, we get the Eagles with the weird Friday game, which I'm not a big fan of because I might miss part of that game on the road. So just give me a Thursday game or, kick it to Saturday. Friday is the worst. But hopefully we're going to be able to make that work where I can watch the game live. But we will get to that game momentarily. First, we're going to briefly give our top takeaways from the Eagles' loss to Dallas. I feel like Ryan and I, we got saddled with post game for this game, and so we've talked about this game more than maybe we wanted to. But we'll briefly give our takeaways, and then we'll spin it forward to the Bears game. And so, David, you're the fresh perspective here, so I'll throw it to you first. Give me your top. We'll start on the more positive side. Give me your top defensive takeaway from the Eagles game against the Cowboys.
My top defensive takeaway. I would have to say that it is the play of Nakobe Dean. If I'm going to talk about something positive, I think after a tough loss, it feels kind of nice to start that way. In short, the Eagles need to re-sign him. It's as simple as that. He was a difference maker in 2024. He's a difference maker this season. He changes the run fits. He brings confidence to the defensive players around him. And I know the pushback, there are not many linebackers in the league who you lock up, especially after you select a linebacker in the first round, who many thought would be his replacement. But I think Dean is worthy of doing that. I think he is just drastically changed the outlook of the run defense in particular, but just overall. And the players just rally around him. He was a captain in Georgia, and most of the people who he led there, he is leading again here. And I think he's a very important, viable person to keep around. And if I could just say one other thing about the linebackers, I was highly disappointed in watching them bite hard all night long against Dallas's play action, which was just insane. I think Dak carved him up something like 9 of 11 for 170 some yards. I believe Next Gen Stats said it was the second most of his career. It was pretty painful to watch that. Dak and Dallas just weaponized that look with the hard play fakes, deep crossers, and it confused the defense. And I thought that was a little worrisome. I do think that the Dallas offense is a lot better than most people give them credit for. I think they're really, really awesome, really, really well coached for the most part. And, I think it did confuse, a banged up secondary, especially later in the game. But overall, I wouldn't have many worries with Fangio. Can he fix everything in 5 days? Probably not. But having Reed back is a big deal, because if it was Andre Sam and Sidney Brown as your starting safeties Friday, it wasn't going to look good. And I also believe Adoree was a full participant today, so that's a big news as well.
Oh, I hadn't seen the injury report yet. I was definitely very concerned about the secondary. So Adoree was full participant, and Reed's expected to be back.
Yeah.
That's great news because
Yeah.
that was going to potentially tank, till they came back. Especially Reed. I mean, it'd be tough to lose Adoree Jackson too. Not that he's been fantastic, but that what's behind him is not any better. But losing both of your safeties in one fell swoop, that would have been awful. So, yeah, the N'Kobe Dean thing is just like, I mean, Jahad Campbell played 11 snaps in this game, and it's a bummer
It is.
that he was playing well. And I mean, it's not a bummer that N'Kobe Dean's playing well by any means. I love N'Kobe. I just alternate universe, where he doesn't get injured last year. There's no way the Eagles take Jahad Campbell in the first round, and I don't know where they would have went there. Maybe they take like Josh Simmons, and you're grooming that tackle now. I don't know where they would have went, but I know they wouldn't have taken Campbell if they had known Dean, or if Dean hadn't been hurt, and maybe they would be considering re-signing him. But I think that's highly unlikely, unless teams are just so concerned about his injury stuff. He's going to have to take a 1-year deal somewhere, and then he'd probably do it in Philly. But yeah,
I do think if there's a guy who would take less money to stay with his brothers in a city, I do think it's him. I think if what you said is probably key, if his market isn't as robust as, his agent will probably hope it is due to the injury concerns, I do think I would put it at 51% chance of him coming back, because I do think that he's not as concerned about the money as many free agents will be.
yeah, interesting. See, I would think for a guy that has had some injury issues, he
He'd
would
want to grab it
probably,
all.
yeah, you
Right.
need to grab it while you can.
Right.
So
His
doesn't
agent
mean,
will try to convince him for sure.
yeah. So hopefully they can get something worked out, and hopefully they could find a role for Campbell in all of that, because I hate to see him not playing as well. But yeah, good game there by N'Kobe Dean. And Ryan, what about you? Top defensive takeaway for you?
Um, yeah, I mean, you kind of stole the really only positive part there. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously this team is going to go as far as its depth will allow it, and we saw, it's a rarity, but we saw multiple injuries in the secondary, and we saw how thin that secondary was. Um, and when you have a couple of newer, players like the, Michael Carters of the world, who aren't really sure where their footing is with, playing with, other players. You saw some confusion there. Um, and yeah, it was a little scary. And to think that this defense certainly has been the backbone of this team this last month or so. It was a little scary to kind of see them looking weak and confused and befuddled, kind of like the offense has been. So, um, yeah, I mean, the pass rush was basically non-existent. Um, like I said, the linebackers played halfway decent. It's unfortunate that Campbell isn't really getting in there, but again, as you said, you can't really blame it. The Dean effect has been tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, hopefully, just the simple fact that Reed and I mean, let's be honest here, fellas. Who would have thought, even a month ago, that us celebrating Adoree Jackson being healthy enough to play was in the cards at all of something we thought we would be saying right now, right? But here we are,
Yeah.
But they got to do something. They got to get healthy, which unfortunately takes time. And there's not really much to do. I know there's a comment in the chat here about Justin Simmons. I feel like that ship is more than sailed. They had their opportunities, even at their lowest right now. I still don't see it happening, but
The fact he hasn't played kind of deterring you.
yeah, that a little bit. Yeah, there's. There's. Again, if you're talented enough to play in this league, you'll be on a team, some fashion, right? Like, again, CJ Gardner Johnson has been bouncing around team to team to team to team this offseason, but he's still getting opportunities because he can play.
And he'll be back at the league Friday.
Yeah, well, he
Oh,
may be a head case. He may be, nuts. He may be a problem in the locker room. Who the heck knows? But you're right. He found out, a spot with the Bears, and they had the need, and he had the talent enough to play it. But unfortunately, at this point, we would love to have him, even with all the extra. But Reed, man. Reed going down really, really affected. I think Sidney Brown needs to just be punted to the sun along with Xavier Gibson, and just never be on a football field, if only for the safety of the other players.
Did you not like Gibson and his 33% fumble rate?
I mean, it is okay. You're gonna make me go off here. Is it not one of the number one things as a returner, a punt returner, that if you are inside the 5-yard line, even only unless you have 50 yards of freedom, would you even think about catching a ball, much less when you have 10 yards before somebody's coming to hit you? Is that not the number one thing outside of here's how to catch the ball? Don't do it when you're inside the 5.
Yep.
And why is he still on our football team?
That's a good question. He should have been cut. Yeah, that was awful.
That is so egregious.
Yeah, I mean you can't put him back there to return a punt again. And if you're not going to do that, there's no point to have him on the team because that's all he's there for.
I don't even know what actual position he plays. I don't even care.
Punt returner.
Yeah, I don't care what position.
Elevate Covey.
Yeah. Covey, let's go. White Lightning.
Yeah. All right, well, let's flip it over to offense. David, I'll throw it to you first again. What about offensive takeaway?
That coaching is problematic. Coaching can't make up for every injury or inconsistency that's going on with the team, but when technique, timing, play recognition all start slipping, you got to look at the guys who are running it, and they're having the same issues over and over. One of the big ones that I'm sure we've mentioned it a lot, I've written about it a lot, is just getting the plays in. It's just terrible. I mean, they don't get them in quick, which then they don't break quick, which means they don't get to the line of scrimmage quick. So when they get to the line of scrimmage with 5 seconds and they can see the defensive alignment is not conducive for them to have a successful play, well, guess what? You don't have enough time to audible out of it. You run it anyway, and it is not successful. I don't know if this is true, but I saw somebody post online that they were getting to the line of scrimmage 5 seconds later in the second half than they did in the first half, which would make a hell of a lot of sense because they seem to really be bogged down in thought on the second half after they get a lead. It's like that they get ultra conservative. And I know everybody's piling on Patullo as far as, the way the offense is, but the head coach sets the philosophical framework of an offense. He determines what the system is, how the team wants to win games, their core principles, the tempo, the formations, the frequency of motion, run pass balance, spacing concepts. Even if he isn't calling the plays, and I have a suspicion in the second half his voice is being heard quite a bit, the playbook is his. I mean, and all of this is his. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think that if Howie Roseman did not get Saquon Barkley last year, that Nick Sirianni isn't our head coach right now. I think that running game masked a tremendous amount of deficiencies within the scheme. And anytime that they needed a big play, they leaned into Saquon Barkley last year. And he was the big play. He's the one who provided all of the big moments. Every moment you remember from last year, aside from the dagger in the Super Bowl, is Saquon Barkley. And I think it's a really big problem. And it's a philosophical problem. And I think, the whole 40-2 thing that we all talk about, they're 40-2 in games that they don't have a turnover. or they win the turnover battle rather. They believe in that philosophy. And you know what? They are 40-2 doing that. And they are 8-3 right now. But they could go on and win the Super Bowl the way this team is built because it just has so much talent, or they could flame out like they did in 2023. And I don't think he'd survive another one of those types of flame outs because I think that there's a lot of scrutiny on the way things are going with that offense now. A.J. Brown and Lurie had their conversation, and I think it was a little bit telling when Lurie told A.J. he had nothing to apologize for.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Part of the reason they were getting to the line so quick early in that game is because they went no huddle
Right.
7 times on the first 3 drives. And
The 3 scoring drives, right?
Yeah, the 3 scoring drives. They went no
Yeah.
huddle 7 out of 27 plays, I think it was.
So let's not do that again.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And they didn't much. They did it a couple times in the fourth quarter.
Out of necessity at that point, but yeah.
Yep. Ryan, what about you? Offensive takeaway.
Ugh.
Stunk.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we said it? And it's been a little while since we've said it, but it's a tale of two halves, and it's 100% that this offense just went into its turtle shell and was just like, we scored enough points. Our defense is fine. They've been playing lights out lately. What's to worry about, right? Well, the injuries on the defense kind of didn't help, and this, that, and the other, and a couple of this and a couple of that. And, Saquon Barkley actually fumbling the ball for the first time all year. There were a couple of things that just kind of, suck to happen. But, when you combine them all, and the fact that, this team is clearly completely unable to handle when another team, adjusts to what they're doing. They don't have an adjustment back, and so that I feel like is a Nick thing. Again, that has to be his. Hey, listen, you're calling the plays, but blah blah blah. They're doing this, they're doing that. We need to start, calling more of these plays or whatever, situationally. And so that's one point, I think. The other point is I can't tell what is more to blame for this Eagles offensive line, I should say. Is it the injuries, which I don't necessarily like to blame because even when they're healthy, there's still some concerns. Is it just Stoutland, again with the run game, and excuse me, the run game and everything else going on the outline on the O line. I'm probably not going to go there. I'm certainly not going to go to the injuries, but it certainly has a small factor. But is it really Tyler Steen? Is he just that much? Not as good, to put it in a David quote, than Mekhi Becton.
Coupled with the fact that Cam and Landon are playing through injuries, I kind of think it's true.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously injuries are definitely playing a factor, but you don't go from the world's greatest offensive line to one of the worst. And it be just, these guys are kind of dealing with some nagging injuries or whatever. I'm really thinking that Tyler Steen is he's not starter worthy.
If I could add to one thing, I think that they've lost their moxie. I think that they've lost their identity. I think a good example of that was in the third, I believe it was the third quarter. They're at midfield. It's 3rd and 2. 3rd and 2. Last season, that's 2 tush pushes, first down, drive, staying alive. This season, we drop back, take a 13-yard sack, punt the ball, get nowhere on the offense. And it just seems like there's too many of those types of plays where they just don't know what they're doing anymore. It's just like they have zero identity. Like, who are they? They're not a team that runs the ball. In the first half, I believe Jalen Hurts was something like 14 to 15 throwing between
Yeah.
between the numbers there. I mean, and then, like you say, they rest on their laurels in the second. All right, we got 21 points. We're good. Fangio isn't going to give up more than that. And it's just like they have no identity this season. Last season was a perfect storm of a brand new running back who had one of the most historic seasons in the history of football, coupled with the brand new defensive coordinator that nobody realized was going to be able to elevate the defense as much as they did. And quite frankly, just everything went well for them. The injuries, they basically were non-existent. Just everything just was like just a perfect culmination, and they're facing a lot of adversity this season. And again, it just doesn't seem like they've been able to establish an identity, up to and including like what you said about Gibson. I mean, the identity, if there's one left, is that Nick Sirianni falls on the sword for everybody. He even defended that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
he
know. I
even
know.
defended that.
I
And that's why, despite everything we're talking about, all of the problems, all of the issues, they still could make a run at the Super Bowl because these guys are just that talented and they have that much heart because you'll see it when they come into a stadium. One thing they're not is they're not quitters. They fight for that man. And I think you'll see that again on Friday.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think what it's been recently is the fact that this Eagles team plays up to the competition when it's a high caliber game, and plays down to like not necessarily kind of saying that Dallas was isn't talented, but let's be honest, Eagles were a better team, and certainly in the first half they definitely played like it, but in the second they just were like comfortable doing the normal whatever. But I just think right now there's so many issues you have, and not necessarily great horrible issues, but there's just enough little ones that just are adding up, and you combine it with the fact that this is Philadelphia, and the Philadelphia media loves to just overblow everything, and I mean, heck, there's so much tension going on right now that even the media were fighting yesterday with each other, telling each other to shut up, let the man finish. When Vangio was answering questions. So
I love that actually. But
yeah, I know it's hilarious. But it's just, yeah, it's tense right now, and there's a lot of things to fix. And you combine that with the fact that, yeah, you're right, David. You said it perfectly. I think they definitely lost a bit of their moxie, and they aren't just going in and bullying people with that run game. Um, and the injuries are certainly the probably the start of it all. Steen is certainly a positive, a part of that. Moxie, I guess, if you will, or that the lack of production. I mean, you know how silly it's getting when people are saying, "Oh, well, Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby should probably do a 50-50 split." Like actual people that get paid to give their opinions about the Philadelphia Eagles are saying ridiculous things like this.
they have to keep the narrative going. Jalen Hurts has played out. AJ Brown's played out. So now it's
Yeah, oh,
Saquon
right.
Barkley's
Yeah, they,
turn.
they absolutely hate each other. Saquon Barkley's a bum. He's a bust. Like it's and we were talking, David, but when you weren't there, prior to the show, um, we were saying like, man, honestly, it's one of those seasons where it's tiring talking about the birds, and there's a lot of noise going on, surrounding this team in the media, on Twitter, everywhere, and some weeks it's hard. It's hard to get over here and be positive, and to try and um, realize that this team has the talent to continue to dominate the NFL like it did last year and win the Super Bowl. It absolutely has that ability. It's whether or not they can get their heads right and be coached to that promised land.
All right, well, let's spin it forward and talk about this upcoming matchup with the Bears. So, short week. Last time the Eagles lost a game, and we said at least it's a short week, and it turned into another loss. So, is that going to happen again? How are the Eagles going to respond against the Bears? Let's dive into our top matchups to watch. Let's go first. Eagles defense against the Bears offense. And obviously the news that it seems like Adoree Jackson and Reed Blankenship will play. That's huge. Obviously Andrew Makuba is going to be out, and so Sidney Brown at the opposite safety is really scary, but we'll see how that plays out. But I think when you look at what the Bears are, schematically, I feel like they're pretty similar to the Cowboys. They're going to run outside zone. They're going to run play action. They're going to throw in breakers over the middle of the field. Now, their personnel is not nearly as good. George Pickens is awesome. And, CeeDee Lamb, when he catches passes that hit him right in the hands, is pretty good too. But that wasn't necessarily his strong suit against the Eagles this year. The difference being that Caleb Williams is going to scramble around a lot more than Dak. He's also going to invite pressure a lot more than Dak. And that maybe is important because I thought the biggest issue with the Eagles defensively was their pass rush. We were back to pre-bye week levels of pressure. Before the bye week, the Eagles were consistently getting like a 30% pressure rate, and they trade for Jalen Phillips over the bye. It was like almost a 50% pressure rate that first game. It was 42%, I think, against Jared Goff in the second game. It was back down to 30. There was just no pass rush against the Cowboys. And that opens up a lot of those areas over the middle of the field, especially against a deep play action team. Like, it's hard to ask your outside cornerbacks to cover deep dig routes when your linebackers are getting sucked up on play action and you're not getting pressure. And so to me, that's the big matchup to watch is can the Eagles get pressure? And Caleb Williams invites a lot of pressure. And then can they contain him? Because we've seen the Eagles have a lot of trouble with scrambling quarterbacks. Not just this year. It feels like over an entire lifetime. It's always been an issue. But especially, this year. So that's my top matchup to watch from the Eagles defense. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off of that, the Dallas Cowboys clearly had a great game plan for the Eagles pass rush, the improved pass rush, and they need to get back to that because I think once they were able to do that, again, it just like any defense, when one out of the three kind of improves or does goes above and beyond, it certainly trickles down. And if they're able to bring that back up to a 50%, it allows the linebackers to do their thing even better. But I will focus on the linebackers because Caleb Williams, as you said, is certainly a mobile quarterback and certainly isn't afraid to run the ball and get out there. So it's certainly going to be obviously on the line to kind of contain, but the linebackers are certainly going to be very important in that regard of keeping it to a minimum and really just kind of forcing him into only a yard or two here and there. So I look for the linebackers to again can help contain Caleb into the pocket and make him beat you with his arm because he's shown some inconsistencies there. While certainly he has been better than last year, he's certainly susceptible to giving the ball away.
All right. Keeping him in the pocket, maybe forcing some of those turnovers would be huge for the defense. David, what about you? What's your top defensive matchup to watch?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of what you both said. I think it comes down to the defensive tackles. Hopefully, Moro Ajomo is good to go in this game, but Carter Davis and Ajomo will need to just stay disciplined in their lanes. they kind of struggled against a young Dallas offensive line. I thought I was not impressed with what I saw when I went back and watched. It's one of the fewer times this season I've actually seen them really get beat. Quite frankly, it wasn't working. That's a little concerning, especially when you take into consideration how many snaps Jalen Carter's been playing the last few weeks. He could be wearing down. And I think it's a big concern moving forward. They need a Jomo. They need to stay fresh there because that's going to be the key almost each and every week as far as getting pressure and the edge rushers being able to get to the quarterback. If they can't, clog up the middle and quarterbacks can step up in the pocket, well, the edge rushers are going to have a very miserable time ever getting home.
Yeah. All right, well, let's flip it over to the other side of the ball. Eagles offense against the Bears defense. David, I'll give you first shot this time. What's your top matchup to watch?
I mean, I would say the run game, but I'm not. I'm gonna go gonna go with they gotta get the passing game going like they did against Dallas, but for 4 quarters, like we said, or Ryan said earlier, it's a tale of two halves. They just need to keep their freaking foot on the gas pedal, man. I believe Hurts completed 15 of 16 passes, like I mentioned earlier, between the numbers. The Cowboys adjusted, sure, but the Eagles just don't. I can't accept the fact that they can't. That just does not seem reasonable to me. I mean, they're going to have to start opening up the pass game to set up the run game. In the past, they've been able to lean on the run to set up passes. That's not there this year. And if they don't start doing some quick passes, some and making the short passing game part of their offense, they're going to remain a one-dimensional offense because the run game, I just don't think is going to be able to fix itself this season without the addition of the short passing game starting to be introduced into the offense at a much higher level than it has.
All right. Ryan, what about you? What's your top matchup to watch?
Yeah, I mean,
Tyler Steen.
I'll say the run game, but yeah, I think regardless of whatever it is, I think the matchup to really look at is the coaching versus actually coaching for 60 minutes. That seems to be the matchup here. We've had very few games where we could say, oh, you know what, they played a full game. Like that was a good full game. It's not happened a lot, and the fact that they are the record, 8-3, it's astonishing, honestly. So I think that's really the matchup I want to look at is can they just be consistent throughout the game, and learn how to, like, when did we just completely forget how to adjust to their adjustments? It's like we come out there, we're great in the first half offensively, and then at halftime they, say, hey, you know what? Well, let's flip it. Let's focus on this. And the Eagles just do the same damn thing, and they're like, "Whoa, well, I don't get it. It's not working anymore. What's the deal?" And there's no adjustment, and or their adjustments are effing terrible. I don't know. I don't know which is which or what's worse, but figure it out, Nick, Patulo, whoever. I don't care who it is, honestly. I'm not really one to, blame kind of person. I don't really give two whats. Just figure it out as a team, whether it be from the player level to the coaching level, whatever. You have to learn how to punch back because you're great at that first punch. You get that first knockout blow, but then they come back and they hit you, and then you just cower and keep getting hit and pray that the clock runs out before they knock you out. It's kind of been their philosophy. So learn to frickin' hit back in the second half, please. It's not hard. You've done it before. You can do it again.
They're really missing Kenny Gainwell in the running game.
On that note, let's go to a couple of comments here.
I'm gonna leave.
Adam says that it's going to be a coin flip. The Bears aren't chopped liver. John says, who I think is a Bears fan because I think I saw a bear down, in the chat from him earlier. So
Oh, I thought he was saying Bears down, like boo Bears.
oh, well, maybe he was. Apologize, John, if you are an Eagles fan and I just slandered you. But if you're a Bears fan, welcome to the show. Come hang out on post game.
Sure.
Hopefully, we'll be celebrating a win. But he says Caleb's going to run on Friday. David says, how are you all saying it's hard for someone to do their job when that's what they get paid to do? Stop making excuses, own the problem, and fix it. I'm not sure what you think we're trying to excuse. If you want to clarify that, maybe I'll try to answer that, but not sure on that one. Adam says the run game won't excel with this offensive line. We've got Andrew says that he worries about Dennis Allen's aggression and obsession with throwing teams off schedule. Let's see. We've got some Hurts slander here. How do we adjust with a quarterback who processes like a sundial? I don't get that one either. I could show you a lot of examples of Hurts processing. I'll just say that the quarterback that outplayed Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls in 3 years didn't magically become a problem, regardless of what reports and rumors are swirling around. But yeah, I mean, you guys talked a lot about a lot of this stuff. The Bears' run defense is terrible, but I don't think it'll matter because the Eagles' run game is awful. The Eagles' offensive line is the biggest issue with this offense right now.
Yeah.
I thought there were some, not enough, but there were some positive steps from Patullo in this game, and then it all just fell apart still. But the offensive line, it has been the biggest issue. And there's some schematic things too. Like there's a clip that Brandon Thorne, who's like the trench warfare guru, put out where they asked Cam Jurgens to reach block Quinnen Williams, who was like 3 yards away. That's just setting a guy up to fail. And so you don't knock Cam for that. You look at a coach and say, what the heck were you thinking? And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of the offensive line underperforming. So although the Bears have an awful run defense, I don't expect the Eagles to be able to run the football because they just haven't shown it at all. And so I do think it comes down to the passing attack. And, David mentioned dropping back to pass on that 3rd and 2. I was glad they just canned the run game and quit trying to run the football because they can't do it. Like, I'd rather just stop wasting downs. If all we're going to get is 2 yards a carry out of Saquon Barkley, then just drop Hurts back 50 times and let's see what happens. And it worked early in the game, and then it stopped working. But this is going to be an interesting matchup because I don't think the Bears don't pressure particularly well, although I think they get some help back on their defensive line off of injury in this game. But they do. They are a ball-hawking secondary. They lead the NFL in interceptions right now, and we know Hurts does not turn the ball over very often. And so I think that's going to be a big matchup to watch is, can Hurts take care of the football? Can they take care of the football without just becoming super conservative? And can they find that balance? Because I fully expect for the run game to do nothing again, and I think it's going to have to come down to the passing game to make it work. So, great comment here from David. I think the reality is that week to week the roller coaster is looping, and you can only ride it so many times before you throw up. That's a great,
not bad.
Yeah, great illustration there for sure.
Yeah,
so
and just real quick, I know there's been some Tank talk, especially after I said my 50-50 comment being ridiculous. I'm certainly not saying to give Tank Bigsby 1 carry. I think he's an important part of kind of breaking, the Saquon, kind of runs, change of pace, whatever. It is working. I do not think that it will work if you do 50-50, and you're obviously never going to do that just given the money that's being paid out there. But I think giving Tank Bigsby, at least a more than 1 carry, that's for damn sure. I mean, you got to give him, 5, 6, 7 carries, again, to kind of break things up, and hopefully even doing that much will alleviate a little bit for Saquon during the times that he's able to run. But, again, they're going to have to figure out something. And, when you lose your best offensive lineman in Lane Johnson, and the 6 offensive linemen that you use in jumbo packages is now the replacement. And the jumbo packages was the only thing that's really been working this year. You gotta, hey, listen, you adjust. You gotta find another way. And you're right. That's what they get paid to do. Find another way. There's always another route.
Yeah. All right, let's quickly move into our player of the game and score predictions. David, I'll throw it to you first. Give me your scores. Give me your player of the game prediction.
Yeah, after a half hour of bashing them, I'm picking them to win. Again, they're 8-3 for a reason. I mean, the Bears are a really good team. They're fun. They have rising talent, probably a bright future. But the Eagles are the better team talent wise right now. They just need to prove it. They need to dominate the trenches, which they're built to do, and win the game. I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout, but I'm going with a 24-16 win. I'm going with one 15-yard personal foul for taunting from C.J. Gardner Johnson. I'm going with A.J. Brown touchdown and 100+ yards.
A.J. Brown and C.J. get in a fight during the game.
Yeah.
All right. Wait, who did you say A.J. player of the game?
Yep.
All right, Ryan. What about you?
Speaking of, by the way, I was furious about that AJ Brown missed second touchdown. Obviously, it worked out as far as them scoring, but I think that was super helpful for the AJ needs the ball crowd. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna keep my streak alive as well. I'm gonna say 24-20. I think it's gonna be a little bit closer of a game. Um, where maybe the defense kind of has to make a nice stop um, there towards the end of the fourth quarter to get the ball and kneel out the clock. Um, yeah, you stole a good one because did Devontae didn't practice today. Not that I expect him not to be out there, but yeah, he was. He probably didn't feel too good when he dove 10 yards backwards and landed right on his back on one of the most amazing catches I think I've ever seen. But it's still not even in his top five. Um, but yeah, you know what? I'll go with Dallas Goddard. I've been believing in Dallas, and he's been staying healthy. And yeah, I think if they continue to feature him and get him the ball, he does great things. He's definitely a nice weapon for this team, and it's certainly going to be a question they need to figure out at the end of the year.
All right, I will take the Eagles in this one too. I'll say 20-17. I think it's going to be another bad offensive performance because I just honestly don't know if good offensive performances are in them. But hope maybe they'll straighten it out. I certainly think the potential is there, but I'm just kind of done expecting the offense to do anything until it proves it can. And so I think they'll be able to get to Caleb Williams and pressure him some. I think maybe the defense can make a couple of big plays. So I'll say the Eagles will get the win 20-17. And I'll take give me Jalen Carter for player of the game. I think Jalen Carter has a big impact on the interior in this one. So,
Okay, Dibes.
Hey, Dibes is with us in spirit. Got to represent him every once in a while. I think the pass rush is going to be key in this game, and I think there's a chance that Carter could go off in this one. So
nice. Real quick, there's a comment from corporate. Oh wait, corporate beat Pumper. Is that Pumper? Did he change his name? Are we just realizing what's going on here? Man, this is. He said, "Why does the defense always have to make a stop?" Well, wouldn't you want that to be the way that your game ends? Is that you're winning and your defense makes the stop to end the game, rather than your offense has to come from behind and make the play to score the winning score to win the game, right? Isn't that theoretically how you would want every game to end? Your defense ends the game by stopping them? No? Am I crazy?
I would rather just be up by 4 touchdowns.
Well,
But
I mean,
yeah,
yes, obviously, but either way, your defense is still going to have to make that stop to end that game.
yeah,
I don't know, whatever. You guys
yeah,
are know how.
yeah. I think the hurt slander in the chat tonight is kind of absurd from several people. That's why I haven't thrown a lot of those comments up here
Well,
because
true.
if you can honestly watch the game and tell me that you think Jalen Hurts is a top 3 issue with the offense right now, I don't think we're watching the same thing. So, um, the O line has been atrocious. The run game's design has been bad. The procedural penalties have been bad.
Ugh.
The slowness with which they get to the line has been bad. The times the offense looks good is when they go up tempo, calling everything out at the line. So I just don't understand that sentiment at all. I get people are frustrated with the team, but I don't know. Just put that frustration where it should be. And I'm not saying I don't even think this was one. I don't even think Hurts was particularly great in this game, but he was far from
Yeah.
the primary issue with the offense. So, uh,
Agreed.
anyways, that's I don't get that sentiment, but I know there's always people that want to make everything about Hurts. So, whatever. But yeah, I mean, you'd love for that. He says he's talking about milking the clock with the lead. Sure, you'd love to be able to do that. Yeah.
That would be the preferred way to end every game. Is that
Got to run to do that.
Yeah, we're up by 40 points and kneeling the ball, halfway through the fourth would be great.
Yeah,
But,
and Hurts has absolutely nothing to do with why the run game's not working, which is the biggest issue with this offense. So,
right.
But yeah,
Anyway, yeah.
maybe they'll get going against yet another bad run defense, but I kind of doubt it because the Cowboys also have a bad run defense. Although Quinnen Williams is a new addition, that's a really good run stopper.
He changes that factor, that's for sure.
So, all right. Well, I think that's going to about do it. Let's throw it around the horn here for final thoughts and plugs. Let's see. David, I'll throw it to you first. Final thoughts, plug your stuff, tell the people where they can find you. You know the drill.
Yeah, you can follow everything on my Twitter handle and at phillysportsnetwork.com. There is a lot of negativity surrounding this team right now. I don't think all of it is warranted. They have been bad in a lot of ways, but they're also 8-3, and I know everybody will say, "Oh yeah, well 2023." Yeah, I get that, but it's not quite like that. I mean, there are more competent coordinator, especially on the defensive side in 2025. It's just not that type of game. And if there is a positive to take away from all of this, it's that they do have the superior talent almost every single time they're on the field. I can't really think of a team that they match up against when they don't. And despite all of the other shortcomings and issues, that really could win out and take them all the way to the Super Bowl. But anyway, other than that, thanks for keeping up with us, even through your frustrations. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, everything you do. And I wish all of y'all have a very happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're off for a couple of days this week and are able to watch the game at 3 o'clock on Friday with hopefully a 4-day weekend for yourselves. But happy holidays to each and every one of you. And thank you all for sharing all of this with us so far this season.
All right, good stuff, David. Ryan, final thoughts, plugs. The floor is yours.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, to kind of piggyback off of what David said is, I think there's a lot of unwarranted, noise, I'll call it, surrounding this team, and it's obviously it's easy to be frustrated with this team. It's I think I guess it was David in the chat that said this team's been like a roller coaster week to week, and it has been in a lot of ways. So, but yeah, do I think that this team is anything necessarily like 2023? I don't. I think this team is much better, and certainly more seasoned. They just have some issues to work through, and they'll get there. And listen, at this time last year, it was the Detroit Lions that everybody was so scared of, and they were running away with everything, and blah, 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 blah. You don't have to be first throughout the whole year. You just got to be first towards the end of the year. So they got like a month or so to kind of figure out, how to get through all this stuff and be, charged up at the right time. So let them do it. Let's if this is January, beginning of January, and they're still playing silly football in one half versus the other, then all right, then we can be fully TO'd. But anyway, yeah, tomorrow 5 o'clock, 5:30, probably 5 o'clock. Football Smack Talk show, because I'll probably want to get that show over with and done with, and then go out and have myself a couple alcoholic beverages.
That is a ringing endorsement. I just want to get that show over with.
Yeah.
I'm definitely tuning in.
No, I didn't mean it like that. Jeez, man, take it the wrong way. I mean, believe me. I mean, Eric and I have been doing the show for, well, honestly, longer than any other two people have been doing a podcast show in Philadelphia sports. So I'm yet to find the duo that has. So
he started when Al Gore invented the internet. It's incredible.
I mean, pretty much, honestly. But no, it'll be a fun show. It's again just like sitting with two people at a bar, just arguing over sports. So come join us tomorrow, Football Smack Talk Show, 5 p.m. Please make sure that you are following Eagles Pinpull Network on all platforms. It appears that we have finally fixed Facebook.
No, you shouldn't have mentioned it.
I know, I totally shouldn't have.
It's like when I mentioned the offense looked good through 3 drives. Your show's definitely not ending up on Facebook tomorrow now.
Awesome. Thank you for that vote of confidence. But anyway, please make sure you're following Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, X, wherever you find your podcast. Please make sure that you're giving 5 stars. All that kind of small stuff does mean a lot to us. So Eagles Pinpull Network, tell your friends, tell your family, have an argument about it at the Thanksgiving table. That's cool with us. Bring us up, use us in an argument. I'm good with that. You blame everything on me for all I care. But have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Eat so much food until you absolutely explode, and then we can all just watch football and be fat, and it'll be great.
Bring us leftovers to the tailgates.
Absolutely. Favorite holiday without question is Thanksgiving for me. I will see everybody down there Friday, bright and early, with my Thanksgiving leftovers. So come say hi, M4, and go Birds.
All right. Well, that is going to do it. Thank you guys for joining us, hanging out on a Tuesday night. We always appreciate you guys. Lots of other shows coming up this week on the network, so make sure you are following that. Be sure you're following these guys as well. David is at David Neese PHL. Ryan Reese is at Philly Sports PSA. I am at Shane Half NFL. We hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll catch you on the other side. Go Birds.